welcome back to your Best Self podcast. I'm Adriana, and today we will be talking about how to do your 20s right. I want to preface this that there is no right or wrong way to do your life, and especially your 20s, which is such a defining period of your life, full of the biggest lessons and turning points. And that's the decade where you're becoming most yourself. You're figuring out yourself and who you are, what is right for you, who is right for you, and so many other life-defining lessons. So obviously, it's normal to make a lot of mistakes during this decade. Sometimes even when we know something to be right and we think, yeah, obviously, I won't do this mistake, I won't fall for that, we still end up in that situation that we said we never would. All I'm saying is that mistakes and lessons are some of the biggest themes of your 20s. Mistakes that define you for the rest of your life. The point is that you should, yes, embrace this fact that you are gonna fall on your face. And you're gonna fall on your face a lot of times. But I'm here to give you some lessons and some wisdom so you will be able to do that falling on your face thing with grace. So you will be able to come out of these mistakes bigger and stronger and the best version of yourself, instead of letting them define you in a negative and in a restrictive way. You know, a lot of people keep saying your 20s are the most defining years of your life and so on. And even though we understand what they mean, maybe we don't really have the wisdom yet to understand the gravity of this statement. Because what they're trying to say is that what you do during your 20s can define the rest of your life. So the mindset you build, your habits, your routines, the compilation of all these things are going to define you and build you, and therefore is going to define the way the rest of your life is going to be shaped. That can sound scary, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't have to be. You shouldn't take this with fear, but with a mindset of acceptance of just that's how it is. And use this knowledge and use this understanding in your advantage. You know, by accepting it and by gaining awareness of this power, it lets you gain full control that you can define these years of your life. And therefore, you can define the rest of your life as well. A lot of people recognize that power that your 20s have. And that's why there's so many YouTube videos of people sharing what they wished they knew in their 20s. They wish they had that control and power back at that age so they could do things right earlier on. If you don't take control right now, you will find yourself playing catch-up for years to come. So today's podcast episode is all about helping to guide you into becoming the best version of yourself. Whether you're starting a new career, building relationships, or exploring your passions, I have a feeling that what I'm going to share today will definitely help you navigate your 20s with more ease, with more confidence, and most importantly, with purpose. So let's get into it. Well, rule number 1 is always believe in yourself. So the first rule that I will start with is always believe in yourself. And oh my God, this is such a golden rule. And I feel like the more you actually experience this, the more you actually understand its importance and its gravity for your life. If you care about being happy and being successful, you need to understand that believing in yourself isn't just some motivational quote that you can just see now and then get motivated and then forget about it. It's a mindset that you adopt, and the earlier you do, the better. And I know this to be true because I've seen it so many times in my life. People older than me with so much potential, who are charismatic, who are intelligent, who are capable of evolving and pushing the needle in their life, but they cut themselves short. They say, no, I can't do that. I'm going to stay in my lane. Stay in which lane? This lane is only a creation of your perception. It's the lane that you build up in your mind with the stack of limiting beliefs that you have for yourself, that you could never be this successful, that you could never be that influential or even that happy. You have convinced yourself that you're stuck where you are because of some made-up story that you keep telling yourself. Okay, but what if you chose a different story? What if you stepped out of that self-imposed lane and you challenged the boundaries that you set for yourself? And you challenge the limiting beliefs that you have? What then could you achieve? The thing is, the belief you have in yourself and your capabilities is exactly what gives you the power to take challenges head on. It gives you the power to open doors and seize new opportunities in your life. And when you mess up, because you will mess up, the belief that you have for yourself is what keeps you getting back up on your feet and going at it again. It's never too late to start building a strong self-image. A strong self-image that serves you and doesn't debilitate you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter how others see you, but what matters is how you see yourself. So how do you see yourself? Do you follow through with the promises that you make to yourself? And do you follow through with the promises that you make to others? Do you respect yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Because if you're willing to bet everything that you have on yourself, your money, your car, your house, your future, your relationships, all of it, and if you could say, you know what, I know who I am, I love who I am, I know what I'm capable of, I can learn, I can change, and I have complete trust that no matter what I face, I'm confident that I will overcome it, then everything that seems impossible for others will now become possible for you. This is rule number 1, because this is the first thing I wish I started working on sooner in my early 20s. I wish I started building a solid identity for myself, because knowing who I was will have saved me so much time and so much energy that was drained by choices that were not for me and who I am. When you have a solid self-image, you know yourself inside and out, and you have a good base to go off. It's like a compass that will never lead you astray and that will always keep you moving towards the right direction for you. Rule number 2 is to follow your passion. And I know what you're going to say, oh my God, are all of these rules going to be these cheesy, heard before quotes? Well, the quotes are cheesy, but the advice, trust me, is worth it. So really listen and try to understand this, because one day you're going to be hit with the realization and you will be like, damn, I wish I really started understanding this and practicing it sooner. You need to see passion as being your North Star. It's the mission by which your higher self is guided. This is a piece of advice that I wish I took a lot more seriously in my early 20s and acted upon it a lot faster. For almost all of my teens and my early 20s, I just wasn't at all very focused on finding my passion, because I was so involved in trying to make others happy. I would listen to what other people would tell me, like go to university, get a good job. No, don't try that, don't do that, that's risky. So when I finally decided to follow my passion, of course, I had already at that point picked up so many beliefs from other people that I used to listen to. And so whenever I will hear people like Gary Vee saying, yeah, just guys, follow your passion, I had no idea where to start. But just because it wasn't clear for me at that moment, it didn't mean that I didn't have a purpose. So here's what I did to undo all the matrix programming so you can do it too. The first step was to believe that having a passion was possible for me and that no passion is unrealistic. Because usually if someone asks us what is our passion, off the top of our heads, we know what our passion is. But, society has told us that there are not enough jobs in the market for this, or there are not enough money. And so go for something more realistic. And that's simply not true. Okay, so try to keep an open mind about it. Secondly, listen to yourself while you try different things out. And you will figure out what you most enthusiastically want to speak about. For example, when you go to a bookstore, what is the thing that you are looking for consistently? It took me a while to figure out what was for me and what wasn't. And now I'm grateful for all the experiences I had because they gave me insights into how to do what I enjoy doing now. For me, my passion is giving advice and helping and guiding people to make the right choices in order to become the best version of themselves in all aspects. So becoming a person that they are proud of. I love helping people understand themselves and understanding how to deal with some of the most common but most influential problem areas in our lives, like relationships, building self-love, being happy, becoming your authentic self, and so on. And that's because it's something that I struggled on my own and I had to figure out from scratch. And so now, whenever I have the chance, I want to give that advice back. Now that I have figured that out, that passion drives me on its own, and there's no motivation or external push needed for me to get going. I'm just naturally drawn towards it, and that's possible for everyone. For so long, I was willing to live a life without passion, without a purpose, because I felt this was only for people that were rich enough to have the choice to do so. Then I realized that no matter how much you try to put yourself in places you think are going to make you rich, and where your gifts actually don't fit, the more rejected you will feel, and the more out of place you will feel as well. So guys, the lesson is to honor those feelings. If you feel like you don't belong somewhere, don't try to keep forcing yourself to fit into that. Go out and figure out the spaces that naturally you feel like you effortlessly fit in, where you naturally feel drawn towards to do in your free time. Something that you are willing to do for free because it brings so much pleasure and so much enjoyment for yourself. Once you find that, we need to have the courage to put your energy and focus on it, and trust me, you will be rewarded. All the success you were looking for in the wrong places, it's going to come effortlessly to you in the right ones. Rule number 3 is to maintain your course. I once read somewhere in a book that there are 3 types of people waiting in a line to pay in a supermarket. The first one is the one that gets into a queue that is long, and this queue isn't moving much at all. And when they see the other line next to it start moving fast, they start contemplating changing lines, but they never do. The second person is the one that keeps changing queues according to which he sees going faster, and he's constantly undecided in which queue to stay. The third one, however, is the type that starts at a queue that is long and it doesn't move fast, but when he sees the other line next to him start moving faster and becoming shorter, he decides to move there and stays. And until this day, I remember this story because its lesson is so striking for me. And the author basically was advising to be like the third person. It's okay to not have things figured out from the beginning, but it's important to know when to change course when we're on a path that doesn't seem right for us. and we feel called to change. But once you make an intentional change in your path, make sure that you stick to it, to give it a fair and full chance. So this is what I mean by maintaining your course. Don't fiddle from one place to another. Make moves and changes in your life, but make sure they're intentional and they are strategic. Otherwise, you are going to spend your life changing lanes and end up making no progress in none of them. So this is what I mean by maintaining your course. Don't fiddle from one place to another. Make moves and changes in your life, but make sure they are intentional and they are strategic. Otherwise, you're going to spend your life changing lanes and end up making no progress in none of them. So, rule number 4 is to take accountability. I'm sure that's a tough pill to swallow for any one of us. Taking accountability is heavy and it feels most often like a burden, and we all want to be burden free, right? So we all want to do whatever we want to do without being responsible for stuff. But there's a hidden advantage of accountability. You see, by taking full accountability and ownership, it gives you full control of what's going well and what is going bad in your life. You know that no matter how things turn out, the choice was yours. And even when things don't turn out okay, you shouldn't see it, all right, I just need to take the blame for this. But look at the experience as a lesson and learn how you can do things differently the next time. Taking accountability for your actions is crucial for building your self-confidence and self-respect, because you no longer are trapped in the victim mindset. You become free from it. If you keep blaming external factors for the state of your life, what this does is that it strips you away of your power and it disempowers you. So take your full power and don't be afraid to bear the full responsibilities of that power. Rule number 5 is to cultivate discipline. This one was and still is a bit hard for me to master. As a woman, I prefer more fluidity, more flexibility around my life. I don't like harsh lines and harsh schedules to follow, but having no discipline at all is also very damaging. So you need to figure out a way to balance it. Discipline means mastering your emotions and not being led by them. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it sometimes. Discipline is basically the bridge between goals and accomplishments, and it ensures that your path is followed with consistency in order to bridge the gap between your goals and actually achieving them. I used to be way more disciplined than I am right now, but I remember the sense of power and pride it gave me. It made me feel like nothing could penetrate me because I was so laser focused on what I wanted to achieve that nothing else mattered for me. I still have this, but it's more like resilience and stubbornness. To not take no for an answer, to power through and go take the actions that I need to take, even when I don't feel like it. Because if I don't, then I am cheating no one but myself. I'm cheating myself out of the goals and the life that I want for myself. And I will be cheating me out of being my best self. Building this discipline early on in your 20s, it equips you with one of the most powerful weapons. It equips you with one of the most powerful weapons out there, that it guarantees that you're going to win in the game of life. A lot of people speak about the importance of discipline. Still, I think they understate its insignificance in becoming successful, because they make you believe that all discipline can do is to just help you wake up earlier and go to the gym 6 days a week. But discipline is way more than that. Discipline is a mindset that you carry with you in all parts of your life. And once you master it, I can guarantee you that it will reward you with success in whichever area you decide to apply it. Because at the end of the day, every goal is achievable with consistency. But the key to consistency and showing up every day is discipline. So start from there. Rule number 6 is to not complain. This is a rule that I think we all agree on. But the thing is, once you're in it, once you're in the loop of complaining, it's hard to realize that you are. You are so deep that you normalize it. But trust me, the effects that it has is like a snowball effect, and you end up being miserable. You've heard the saying of where your attention goes, energy flows. Unless what you want more in your life are those things you complain about, don't let your energy flow towards these insignificant things, because wherever you place your focus, you will begin to attract more of that which you place your focus on. So instead, keep your energy and your focus on things that you want to attract more into your life. Now, don't take that as you should go be this delusional butterfly. Of course, things can happen, but your reactions to them is entirely your choice. So choose to take accountability and don't ever complain about them. Learn to accept the imperfect world that we live in and expect nothing from it. This attitude will stop you from any big shocks, but even when big shocks do find you and you will want to complain, don't resist it and just accept it. Complaining happens because we resist to accept something as true. We refuse to accept it as a reality, and therefore we keep resisting it. So let go of any resistance, say yes to things, and that will equip you with more patience and more capacity to deal with the ups and downs of life. Rule number 7 is to be impressed by the right things. This is a rule that we mostly need in our teens, I feel like, because that's the period where we're so easily influenced by external shiny things. But for a lot of people, they still continue to allow this mindset even in their 20s. When you're young, you're easily impressed by things like status, material, flashy things, cars, brands, chicks, boys, and the latest iPhone. You know, all the things that as you grow up and you mature, you realize that they hold no real value. Because as soon as you get them, they feel like nothing to you. This gives us the lesson that we need to be impressed by the things that once you get them, you keep feeling lucky and you keep feeling grateful to have these things in your life. These things that are so invaluable to you and things that you know you won't ever want to lose. Like, these are things like a loyal, supportive boyfriend or a girlfriend, true friendships, your family. So be impressed by traits like integrity, confidence, courage, resilience, authenticity. These are real things to be impressed by. The rest of them are fleeting. The rest of them are fake. One day that person might have the flashy car and the status, and the next day they won't. Learn to have stable and hard-earned ideals, so that way you don't waste your 20s going after stuff that will not bring you real fulfillment and real value in your life. That is an actual hack, guys, and it can really save you years of your life from chasing the wrong things. Rule number 8 is to embrace your ambition. I have always tended to be ambitious in my life. It's what has pushed me forward. It's what has encouraged me to be better, to improve when I sucked, to grow and to learn. Now, if I denied that trait of mine and I pushed it aside, and if I said, no, like, it's okay to be just where I am and not wanting much from my life, well, I wouldn't be where I am today. I will have compromised for a life that wouldn't be fulfilling for me. So if you're someone that has ambition, your ambition might cause you pain sometimes, because you will compare yourself to other people and find yourself feeling like you're not good enough. But remember, if you're drawn towards more, it's because you are capable of achieving more. What you desire is also desiring you. So embrace your ambition, be comfortable with it, and actually start leaning into it in a way that it will allow you to finally start being your true best self. Rule number 9 is to be authentic. And I really love this one. I have made a video already about how to discover and be your authentic self. So if you want to go in depth into this one, you can check out that video after watching this one. Being your true authentic self is probably one of the hardest, but yet the most liberating things you will ever do in your life. We are raised in a society that teaches us from a young age to become less of who we are, a more watered down version of ourselves in a way that serves them and it suits them and not us. Never accept that. Learn who you are to your core and don't ever stop being that. Because being your authentic self is going to lead you to taking authentic choices that are aligned with your true desires. This is the only way to guarantee that you live a truly fulfilling life. A life whose path you decided and no one else. Just take the time to listen to yourself, and you will be surprised by how much innate wisdom and knowing you have. You need to allow your authentic self to speak and stop trying to shut it off. Because the more you do that, the less willing your authentic self is to just pop up and say something to guide you to the right way, because of the habit you have of always shutting it off and not asking for its advice. Allow it to speak and just see from there how much guidance it can flow. Rule number 10 is to prepare for loss. And loss is a part of life, and unfortunately, no one is immune from it. And the truth is, no matter how much you think you might be prepared for it, you never are. What I mean by preparing then is to have systems and mindsets in place that will help you heal and get you back into your feet in the most healthy and strong way possible. Because everyone goes through pain, but it's how you come out of it that matters. Rule number 11 is to never stop learning. And this is another one of my favorites. I was once asked in an interview, what is my strongest trait? And I really took a second to think about it. And I answered with so much certainty, because I knew if I could be described in one word, it would be this word: curious. My mom keeps telling me that I was so curious since I was young. She will be driving and I will be in the car with her, and I will ask her, what is this and why is it like this, for every single thing we saw in the road. Until this day, that's how I am. I find interest in so many things. I could learn about everything and I will find interest in them, because for me, it's helping me understand the world more. I feel like when I gave this answer to my interview, I think my interviewer was impressed and that he actually never heard of this answer before. And so he asked me, curious in what way? And so I said, curious not in the I want to know the gossip of people, but curious about the world and how it works, how things work. Curiosity is what let me do both of my degrees. I found interest in law and in business not because I felt passionate about them, but because they helped me understand the system and gain the insights on things that help you be so successful. So being curious and being open to learning constantly in your life is the biggest indicator that you're going to keep evolving in life no matter what. There's like this one famous YouTuber that is an entrepreneur, and he was saying, if you want to be successful, if you want to be a successful CEO, you need to know a little bit of everything. You need to know a little bit of marketing, a little bit of psychology, a little bit of accounting, and so on. Imagine how powerful you can be if you're a person that has insights in so many topics, that you have an opinion and you will actually won't be led astray by people that might try to fool you. And guys, just because you've graduated from school or university, it doesn't mean your learning should stop. If you made it this far into this video, well done. This shows that you have a commitment to continue learning and self-improving. Learning is so important because it gives us the knowledge to grow, and as long as you keep growing, you will continue evolving. There's a quote that says that resisting change is like holding your breath. If you succeed, you will die. And that goes perfectly with continue learning, continue changing, continue upgrading. Rule number 12 is to always give your best. The last rule for today's episode is always give your best. And looking back at my childhood, I always remembered my mom and my dad always telling me, if you're not gonna do something right, then don't do it at all. And back then I was just thinking they were dramatic and that it wasn't that bad, you know? But now I get it. Now I understand that if you do not do something right, you're being sloppy. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. When you consistently cut corners or handle things carelessly, you send a message to yourself and to your brain that you're someone who doesn't value doing things properly. And this attitude will seep into other areas of your life and gradually shape you into someone who does things half-heartedly. And you don't want to be that person. So learn to do things properly from the beginning, and trust me, this will make a huge difference in how you view yourself and how you show up and take care of things and how you take care of situations and people in your life. The way you do things impacts the outcomes of your actions, right? And these outcomes are a reflection of you. So make sure that whatever is reflected is something that you can be proud of. So try to incorporate these rules to your life, guys, one by one, or, start with the ones that resonated more with you and you had like an aha moment with. And the more of these tools and mindsets you have, the more aces you have in your sleeve. And this will not only help you to do your 20s right, but eventually it will help you do your life right. But figuring this out so early in your 20s is so important, because the earlier you set a good base and foundation, the easier it will be for you to not only handle life, but also win life. This is it for today's episode. Let me know if one of these rules resonated more with you, and if you would like a more in-depth video on them. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.